tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mackie.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out. We're on WCCR, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. That's the website. Where it's home to fresh, unfiltered ideas and conversations. You'll find those in the chat room where both Mackie and I are right now. And the website's also a tremendous place to get your merchandise. Your merch, there's merch drops. This is show number 622.
230 and 600?
No, 222. Sorry, it's 622.
220 and 600. Wait, I better hear 3. Maybe I slipped.
That was a long time ago.
I slipped through time.
I was watching a thing today about the guy who made the time machine. So maybe, yeah, it happens. Yeah. Hey, don't sneeze at it, because then your sneeze will go forward in time. Catch us on air, online and anywhere on your smart device, so grab an app to listen anywhere or listen at home on a Grace tabletop digital radio. That's the real way to do it. Go and buy one and say that we recommended you, because then they might read the email. Oh really, we got a sale. Finally. That'd be great. If you missed the show with Walter Rose talking about DMT, and I think he has a website called takedmt.com, it was very interesting. There was a lot of things that I heard him talking about where I think just that many people have had similar experiences to his, a lot of them either prophetic or mystical, some introspectives. There's a whole bunch of things, and he was even took it further than that. So do I think he had a book, so do go to his website, have a look at his material, and you know what, Solaris, got to applaud her for finding these tremendous guests. Great work, Solaris, love your work, and it's very difficult to keep. No, it's actually not difficult. She warms the crowd up for us. How's that? And you know what, if you don't know who we're talking about, Solaris Blue Raven, you can find her shows are free to access them in the archives. So jump into the archives and you can listen to her shows, her prior shows, ours, or any other host. And if you're going to go in there and have a look, do download a few different people's shows and have a listen to what they have to say. And if you agree with them, branch out. Tell some people about this. If you can't donate, tell someone who might be able to. And you know what? You might want to be the smartest person in the room about any given topic. You might be able to enlighten people with something. So, go ahead. This will be a hint to where I am. I'm broadcasting out of Bungjalung country. Mackie, where are you today?
I'm still in good old Dura country.
Now, we, as Mackie and I, Shiny Side Out, implore you to discover who the traditional custodians of the land were before your countries were colonized, and try and find out more about them. And that's why we say it because I mean it. I like to be grounded, have bare feet, walk around, touch the dirt with my real feet, not plastic, insulation devices.
Be the dirt!
All right, I'll just lie down. Hang on. So do that, ground yourself, and feel in the area that you're in. Let's hope it's no broken glass or anything like that, or discarded needles. But wherever you are, try to think back in time to when there were traditional or custodians of the land, right? And think about how they might have viewed the land and what stories they would have told and passed down. You might have to do the same one day. We don't know, whatever our future holds for us. So, for that, we pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. Hey, Mackie.
Hey, Davey! Oh.
Wow, it's going to be an exciting show today.
You better believe it, baby. Better believe it. Better believe it.
Sometimes I turn into Hecklefish, I swear. Now, I'm gonna Yahtzee. I'm gonna say Gertrude. I'm gonna say there's a very disturbing news story here to read out, and it's disturbing. There's many reasons, but the first and foremost reason is we have a mother from a family who went jogging and disappeared. Ballarat isn't, a high-rise area. It's farmland. Roads are pretty deserted for the most part, and the last thing that I saw about the search for her, it's 7 days in, is that they're going to just use volunteers now. They've not found a peep of this woman. They said that last Sunday her mobile phone pinged. Well, of course, that's not the right terminology. It gave a location. It joined the network, and then it's gone again. And that's the last thing they saw. But that was 4 days after she disappeared, and it might have been I hope that's the right timescale. And they're now just going to use volunteers to see if they can comb through a small wooded area. But why they're looking there, I don't know. It's got me baffled. See, she was jogging on the side of the road. Now, my first thought was maybe she got hit by a drunk driver, and that person bundled her body up, never to be seen again. Maybe it could be buried in a shallow grave somewhere. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those 411s, Becky, where that's the missing persons, as our audience is aware. But maybe it's more, alien-esque. Did she walk through a portal, I wonder? Because we've been talking about those recently.
Yeah, look, people don't just disappear, right? They don't just disappear. People always say people don't just disappear. Except, of course, they do. They completely disappear from the face of the earth.
That's what the news story says in The Guardian.
I know. And again, it's not the first time this happened. There was a case some time ago where a child, which was, I think, was an autistic child, disappeared for. And this was literally a few meters away from adult supervision. A few meters away, right? Now, this was in a farmstead with surrounding bushland, sure enough, but that's a small child. I can't remember, 4 or 5 or something like that. And again, not fully capable, I guess. It's probably the best description. But any child would be, in dire straits in those situations. So people were, a lot of people were looking all over the place, close to the farmstead, all around here and there. The dogs in, there's aerial searches, whatever have you. Turns out,
yeah, they had infrared, and they had people walking, shoulder to shoulder.
Turns out the kid turned up in a spot that had been searched like 4 or 5 times.
That's right.
So what happened? Well, my theory anyway, so I'm not going to repeat it again. But this lady here, again, it's just, the thing is this, right? It's she actually turns up on CCTV cameras. She does turn up on those.
You saw her jogging down the street. Yep.
Yeah, and it's not bush, right? But it's not urban either. It's not rural, I guess.
That's right.
It's Ballarat. But there should be something, some kind of trace, anything, and you can't just vanish, really. I mean, of course you can. It happens all the time. But it does boggle the mind, and now the search is on. In fact, the search has been called off, I should say.
It's been reduced to volunteers only now.
Correct, and that's what happened. So, I mean, what happened? I mean, 411. Yeah, look, people are disappearing, and only sometimes, do we hear about it when it becomes like when it's someone, I guess, a bit more prominent, or it's in a smaller community and the impact is greater, or whatever, or it's a child, then we hear about it, right? but so many people disappear. And I do urge you all to to entertain the idea of looking up the documentaries by Paulides. He was on the show with us here.
That's right.
And they call like all four. Like just search for missing 411.
That's right.
You'll find a link there that'll set you right. Okay, so it's really important that you do that. And it's David. Okay, David Paulides. Yeah. And missing 411 will show you. And it's really quite. It is disturbing. Okay, the information that he uncovers, and he's a professional investigator because he used to be a police officer. Okay? So he's not, like just a regular Joe that decided, I'm going to look for missing people, see if I find something. No. He fell into it in a way, I guess. This was just odd. So he was, in fact, he was at the San Jose police department, and which is funny because that's where part of my wife's family lives in San Jose, Milpitas, in that area there. That's actually quite nice. It's quite nice.
So Mackie, I'm just gonna. I get on Twitter, or X as it's called. I'm following the New South Wales Police Force. It is the largest police force for a jurisdiction in the world, because New South Wales is rather large, and we have the largest amount of police for a jurisdiction. And there is every day there's 4 or 5 of these "have you seen this person" alerts, and just popped up is a fellow called Michael. Have you seen him? He's driving a Ford. It looks like he's in his 40s to 50s. Then there's another one from 2 days ago. This was, can you help find Buon? It's probably a 50-year-old man. Says he was walking towards George Street from Central Station and disappeared. Right? Then 2 days ago again, there's a, can you find Mimo? So Mimo is looks like an Italian mother. I'm only guessing. Probably 40. Then 2 days ago, can you help find Joanne? She's a mother about 40 years old. Then there's, can you find Ruby? Looks like a schoolgirl about 15 years old. And then it just keeps going. I'm going to say it's every single day there is just endless amounts of people that go missing. You don't hear on the news. One will make it onto the news if it's a slow news day.
Look, across Europe, I guess North America and Australia, and I'm not counting Asia and South America and Africa because the data collection in those areas of the world is not as good.
It's minimal,
and people are more prone to fall victim to foul play than in other places. I mean, if you especially look at the subcontinent, it's just pretty horrendous. Especially if you think of the slum people, they're there.
They're undocumented anyway.
Completely. That's exactly right. I mean, they go missing. Who knows, right? Because they don't. I mean, as far as the system is concerned, they don't exist. And this is unfortunately the case for quite a number of countries. Not all of them, mind you, but a number
of
countries.
On the census, Mackie, if there was a census, it would say, where do you live? And it's got slum, you just tick the box.
That's it.
Right?
Which slum? Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and whereas, in I guess Canada, even Mexico and the United States, as well as Europe and most of Australia, it's fairly good chunks of Southeast Asia too. There's it's pretty good. I guess person registration systems in place. So people, where you live, and the police are, they're quite capable from for the most part, but still hundreds of thousands. And this is, I know, what?
Yeah,
hundreds of thousands of people go missing every year. Now, a big chunk are found. Either they turn up alive or they turn up dead, but they're found. Okay. And then you got John and Jane Doe's, right? And So these are people that nobody's claiming. I think
That's right.
think about that for a second. You know, so how many do you think? How many think there are? Right. That's the question here, right? So the answer is quite a few. Right.
So with the 6 million that have crossed upwards, past maybe plus 6 million plus that have gone into America, and those numbers we heard about how many children have been lost going across the border. 200,000 of them are lost.
So think about that for a second.
Yeah.
200.
That's a lot.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah.
I'm just putting some scale on it.
Yeah, your mathematical acumen is worthy of the Roman Empire. Anything but 100,000. How much is that? It's a lot. It's a lot.
No, put me back to ancient Greece. When they didn't have a zero.
I know, right? But that's the thing, though.
Two
You're right,
and then something.
You're 100% correct. They're just so many, and then so you've got the people that go missing that they've gone missing, right? So that's like in the hundreds of thousands.
Yep.
Then you got John or Jane Doe. So I mean, look, if it's a mass grave, good luck, right? Trying to identify someone. People, especially in war zones, in areas where there is a lot of gang violence, right, and drug-related crime, etc. You don't even get to bury everybody. People just gone, and if you find the bodies there, you might not be able to identify them.
Yeah, that's right. You won't have anything to check them against. So if they're undocumented, well, they've got nothing. You have to have a criminal record in the US or a medical record to have been able to be scanned into the system. So I don't find much hope for any of those illegals that are coming across who are undocumented, and what kind of conditions are they going to be subjected to. So you've got say you had 200,000 children that have gone missing. So how many of those are going into child cartels? I don't want to say the words because it's horrifying.
Yeah, no, of course it is.
How many sweatshops are they going to be working in? What is there, like a science, an arm of undocumented science that's doing experiments? I don't know. Apparently the people in this caravan are walking all the way from Ecuador, because Ecuador doesn't have any visa requirements. You can just turn up in Ecuador and no one cares. And so once you're there, you can nominate yourself as being without paperwork, and then you could just walk northbound and get to, through Panama and up into Texas or whatever. And I've been listening to, Mekhi, this is interesting, I've been listening to some reports from people, these broadcasters have gone there for, maybe 1 or 2 kilometers of the walk and talked to people, interviewed people. And they had to step over dead bodies, people who didn't make it. You're robbed of everything you've got, if you have anything, and otherwise, your dignity or raped is another thing that can happen. You can just be beaten, and it's whoever make it, with all the disease and everything, whoever make it to the border are going to be the strongest of the strong. They're the willing, they're the ones who could will themselves there. They're good candidates, I suppose, for anybody. But as we've spoken about, the tragedy that is this kind of migration it's truly appalling. If the only reason you're going somewhere is because it's better than all the countries you've walked through to get there, what does it say about, all of those politicians of all those other countries? Hey, what about us? Couldn't we use some of those migrants? Right. Undocumented, who cares? But this is, sadly, if this is going to be the state of the world, if it continues to spiral downhill, at the best case scenario, this is still an outcome. It's still what's going to happen.
Yeah. But what worries me, though, is this, to some extent. Now, look, even if we assume that a very large percentage of people just they disappear and then no one is looking for them because maybe they don't have anyone, or who knows? There could be many reasons why people don't look for them, right? They become John Does and all kinds.
They lived alone. Who knew, right? Yep.
Yeah, who knew, right? But I'm sure there's a few of them, right? Now I'm at the website of the FBI here, right? And they only have 46 of WICAP unidentified persons at the moment, right?
Huh.
But it filters here by year, right?
Oh.
So I go to 2010. If only did something. Here we go. Yeah, in 2010 they have got 5 listed here. That's what the FBI does. I don't know how accurate that is. I just don't know. But even it's sad. But are they all from here? Right? I mean, I know this sounds crazy. I get it. But if you were to shift right back and forth, and by the way, this I just saw this, Dave. This movie called Shift.
Yeah.
That came out just this year.
What is it?
I saw on IMDb anyway, and it's called The Shift, or last year, and it's exactly that, the dimensional shift. There's a guy looking for his girlfriend or his love or whatever, right?
Wow.
I know, and I thought that's interesting. And another thing in this area. I don't know if you guys have read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. No, Blake Crouch wrote Wayward Pines. That was turned into a couple of TV shows, right? The Wayward Pines, you might remember that? If not, if you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor and do. But the point is, it deals with dimensional shift as well, which is being turned into, I think it's either Amazon or Netflix, I can't remember. That's turning it into a TV show. Or has turned, and it's coming to our TVs this year. So there's this growing interest, I guess, in dimensional shift kind of content, the narrative. Do you know what I mean? Because people are understanding quantum physics better now, or well, if they're understanding it better, at least there's been enough of it, Dave, in the public discourse for people to go, oh, well, what does it mean then? Oh, it means that. Oh, that's interesting. Well, what about this multiverse? Is that a thing? And if it is a thing, can we go in between it? It seems, like I said, like we've discussed many times, it's a possibility, right? But what if these, again, we've said this before, what if a whole bunch of people in our psychiatric institutions are travelers or shifters, right? What if a whole bunch of these Jane and John Does and John Bloggses and whatever the correct moniker is to describe them, what if some of them are in fact just appearing here? And that's what because the thing is this, in today's day and age, right, it's almost impossible not to leave some kind of footprint somewhere, right? Especially if you're older, right? I mean, if you're young, well, maybe you're abducted when you're young before you could really have an impact on the world, and maybe you didn't have an online profile, etc., etc. But with the advanced technology that exists, the algorithms, the AI, facial recognition, etc., plus our DNA banks, plus fingerprints, and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? I find it amazing that we have quite a large number of John and Jane Does in Australia, in North America, and in Europe. Like I said,
that's right.
Because it's a lot harder to fall between the cracks in those countries. Not impossible, mind you, not impossible, but just a lot harder. So if you told me there's 10,000 John Does in I don't know, in the Congo, right, or in Yemen, or in the Sudan, or wherever there's a war,
you would barely be surprised.
Well, it's a war, right? I mean,
yeah, that's right.
No one keeps records. I get it. It's even in the Ukraine now, right?
Yeah.
But entire villages are destroyed. Entire villages are completely destroyed. People are running away. Where'd they go? I don't know. They went to somewhere else. Okay, but nobody in the new place knows them.
That's right.
Right? So who are they? I don't know. I don't know who they are. So with displacement of people and such, through natural causes, catastrophes, floods, whatever it might be, fires, all man-made, like wars and such, and you see a lot of people just falling between the cracks, but that's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think there are too many of these people out there that are not identifiable for my liking, right? And no one really cares. That's probably the key thing, Dave. If you are Jane or John Doe or such, nobody cares. I mean, the police might give it a half-hearted, try to, but I mean, if nobody's breathing down my neck and I've got another 40 cases to solve, well, I mean, how, I'm not gonna waste my time on that. I mean, I'm just talking to human nature here, right?
Not everyone has a brother Reacher.
Oh, I love that. I do love.
I'm waiting for the next series to start, but.
Oh, brother, yeah. It's season 3, right?
It's season 3. It's being done now. I think they've got funding for it, so.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
So not everyone has a brother like Reacher who can hunt down the murderers and turn an unknown person into someone, right? That's great.
Exactly.
If only there were more of them, Mickey. That's it.
More Reachers. Well, if there were, funny thing is this, true story. Years ago, when I was at the gym almost every day, there was a guy there, and I think his name was Daryl or Darren. No, I think it was Darren. Great guy, very friendly, very big. He was like a White Hightower kind of, from the Police Academy movies.
Yes.
Like, but built, right?
Yeah,
and I said, dude, if all and he was a police officer. Sorry, I should say he was a police officer. And I said to him, if all police look at you, there wouldn't be very much crime anymore. And he was about my age too, and we laughed. And he's a good guy, but I tell you, he was a bit of a beast. And I do believe that if police looked like him, crime would be a lot less.
A lot less crime. That's right. That's right. Oh boy. So when you're telling that story, I just remember when I was bodybuilding, and I competed in a few events. So that was good fun. And
you beat Arnie twice, I think, right? Didn't you?
No, I didn't. So I didn't, right? I didn't compete in the same events because he was in the heavyweight, and I was at least 2 classes lower, but I was still large.
Look, the truth, Dave can't tell you, but the true story is Arnie paid Dave off so Arnie could win. That's what happened. Okay, just so we're clear on the same page. That's what really happened.
At the time, Al Beckles and a whole bunch of really famous people were up there in who I idoled, and Arnie was one of those. And in Mr. Universe, when Arnie's getting asked everywhere by everyone, what should I do here, and he says, when pressed, he says to the interviewer, I noticed a lot of people ask you for advice, and he goes, yeah, I don't always give the right advice, because he wanted to win. That was everything about it. So I was just remembering that, and I went to Venice Beach, and I worked out. Yeah, I was that kind of person, and I worked out there at Venice Beach one time, and but look, I have to say there was a lot of people there that in the gym. There was one really large guy, and he still maintained that, and I caught up with him accidentally, and he was still big, but I wasn't. And he goes, man, you should have stayed with it. Look at me, right? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, good on you.
But thanks for reminding me of my failures in my life.
No, it wasn't. It was that kinship. We still had that, even though we weren't the same size anymore, right? And it was pretty good. And yeah, but look, it brings me to the topic of health, Mickey.
Radio.
Health. So
I'm going to say it's important.
Yeah, totally. And it is to such a degree that despite whatever you do, it's like being in not the Hall of Mirrors, but in that that's that something castle, Hitetchi's castle or something. Takeshi's castle, that Japanese game show.
Mechi?
No, the game show where people have to run across a field to a row of doors and only one of them opens.
Oh, okay, I can't recall the name for that.
Isn't it Katechi's Castle?
Sure, let's go with it.
Chessie's, I don't know, whatever it is.
Toronagasa Castle.
Yeah, that'll do. Yes. So they run to a wall, and there's just all these doors, and they look like doors, but only one will open, and they have to. It's a race against time, and the disappointment in their face when they've slammed into just a solid wall because the door was painted on, right? It's tragic. In the end, they're driving these motorized vehicles with laser cannons and things. So dangerous. I used to be able to see. Katechi's Castle. What's something? So that's what it's like, a minefield of trying to keep yourself healthy. It used to be easier. Actually, I don't think it went. No, it was probably never easy. So it doesn't matter what you do, your environment adds a bigger percentage of the health risk to you than anything else. Yeah, the food is the next, and the water, yeah, sure, and the air you breathe, yeah, sure. They're all the contributing factors. But the environment now and what medicine is doing to you is a whole nother story. Now, I can't mention any of the topics, but if you're watching this on YouTube, I will quickly throw up the video that I think is extremely important, and it's one of the Dr. John Campbell videos, and it's titled New Disease. And that's all I'm going to talk about it. And it's quite a surprise. And what it got me thinking about was, I remember my mother used to have every vitamin tablet on the planet all balanced out correctly, done totally, from a nutrition basis. Should I be short in this? This is going to do that, and that's going to be, and it was a regime. I've seen people do this, even huge bodybuilders do this. All the foods were correct. So if I eat this and I do that and I do that, then this is what I have to have. So the food equation for the day was always in balance. It's always in balance. So if there was never anything that was below the line. You had to have everything just above the line, and in quantity for the effect. And it was tremendous. Though my mother suffered 25 years of cancer. It could have been from the tablets. I don't know. It could have been from all those times in the air in a plane, because if there's a CME from the sun, while it's not affecting the plane itself, you can be dosed with a year's worth of X-ray equivalent of high energy particles in high altitude aircraft. If you didn't know that, that's a thing. So all of those things that lead up to you not being able to succeed in remaining healthy. I know a lot of people, Mickey, who are completely carefree, don't care. They just have a very simple regime of being healthy, and that is some kind of fitness that they do, and they don't always eat really well, and they seem to breeze through life being healthy. And it seems like the more effort you put into trying to stay healthy, the worse the outcome. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not getting medical advice here at all. It's observation from me, because I do take a lot of.
It's attitude. And people are going to hate me for this, but it's psychosomatic.
Yeah.
So
you mean the placebo effect?
That's pretty much what we're talking. Oh, it's placebo. Say no more. We, as human beings, I believe, are well equipped. Our immune system certainly, especially if we live well enough, right? So, I think a lot of people suffer stress in our day and age, not because of work or the political situation, but because of all the expectations that they think life has on them. What I mean is, I gotta run.
Today we're gonna try
to run 10 kilometers, for 6 miles. So I gotta be able to still have my full head of hair when I'm 50, or not have no gray hair, or be really thin, have a really good job with a lot of money, and I have to eat well, and I can't be overweight, and a whole bunch of stuff that stresses us out, right? And I think that contributes to our overall dis-ease, like our unwell disposition.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you have a better attitude, let's say, right, and you're sensible, I mean, hey, eat what you want. Maybe you don't play enough sports for some people's eyes, but ultimately, I mean, are you happy with
You're reading
yourself?
out of my diary again.
Am I? If you're happy with yourself, and well, I got a camera in there, so might as well. If you're happy with yourself and your life, right, and you don't really care about what other people think of your body, so you've got a good body image, right, as well, or if you just don't care what people think in general, like that's me really, pretty much, then you're probably better off rather than constantly stressing. I mean, some of these people that are really fitness fanatics, they are anxious and they can't miss this workout, and they have to go here and take those vitamins and make sure that that they're eating a gluten-free, high protein, low
GI.
low carbohydrate diet. Okay, you know what my grandparents ate? Whatever my grandmother cooked, that's what they ate. Okay. And they went through the wars, and my grandfather was in the war. He lost an arm, was pretty badly injured, died, came back, lived until he was 80. I want to say
Nice.
82.
Yep.
I want to say 80. In his 80s, nonetheless. Let's just say
Yep.
that. And he smoked like a chimney. He
Uh-huh.
drank like a fish. And
That takes me back.
yeah, I know. But my point is, with someone with that lifestyle, you think, they just have to die. Well, no, but he was mobile well into his old age. He would walk every day. He would walk. He'd go out and walk. His job when he was working was forester, so he walked all day in the forest.
Wow, that's
He
a tough.
was always-
that's a tough
yeah.
act back then.
Oh, it is. He was he was always like normal, like thin. He was never overweight ever.
Yeah.
But he only ate at meal times, for instance. He
Mhm.
wouldn't snack,
Yeah, no snacks.
right? And but like I said, he drank a lot. Hard liquor, I tell you. And he smoked, but he smoked not cigarettes, but he rolled himself, right? Real tobacco. He rolled pipe. None of that quick burning cigarette stuff.
No.
You can't pin it down to anything, because you look at people of all ages, sizes, and shapes, right? And some of them are in great health, and you think they should just be keeling over, right? That's what they look like, but they don't, and they're not. And others, you think, they must be so healthy. Look at them, they're thin and fit, and you realize, no, they're not. I had my friend, a very good friend of mine. Give you a simple example of the opposite. Super fit, natural athlete. I think I told you the story before.
Mhm.
Natural athlete. I mean, he there's no sport that he couldn't do,
Yeah.
and not just do, but do extremely
Really
well.
well, yeah.
And still can, right? But and very, very fit, like I said. We worked out at the gym together, and we played basketball together, and a whole bunch of stuff. We still cycle together. Now, a few years ago, he started feeling unwell and a bit dizzy, right? And it's not normal, so he went to the doctor. Doctor said, it's all fine, you're all good, it's all good. He wasn't happy with that, so he went to another doctor. Lucky he did, got a second opinion, and they did some tests, a bit more, I guess, thorough is probably the word, a bit more thorough. And it turns out that he has got a condition which usually goes undetected until you die from it.
Wow.
Your heart just stops.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's my point. Your heart just stops. It stops. That's it, and you just fall over dead. And he got a little machine in his chest that kick starts his heart if it needs
Yeah,
to.
my dad has one. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And but again, my point is, right? Is this if he hadn't gone to the doctor and found out what it was, he would have
He
just
could have been the latter.
he could have just died one day, and everybody would have gone. But he was so fit. He was such a sportsman. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't really drink. I mean, not he have a beer here and there, but doesn't take drugs. None of that. Very smart guy, right? None of that. But he could have just fallen over dead. Okay, one day, and we all would have been scratching our head. That's my point. You just don't know what cards you're dealt in life.
Yeah, that's right.
No? So look, I've got apparently really bad sleep apnea. I did a test. I might have told you, and my breathing stops 60 times an hour,
Wow.
which is a lot. It's a lot.
It's one
It's a
a
lot.
minute. Yeah.
It's severe. I got myself a little thing now, a splint that I put in my mouth that pushes my jaw forward. My wife
Sure.
tells me my snoring is not as bad. But my point when I was measured was this. So I stopped breathing essentially, right? So a lot while I sleep, and that it does the machinery that is on your body picks all of that up, but it also picks up your heart rate. And
Mhm.
throughout the whole thing, the entire night, my heart is rock steady at 60.
Nice.
Rock steady. Like, I mean, there's not even a blip. Even when my breathing stops,
Yep.
doesn't matter. My heart just goes, yeah, no, well, you do what you want over there. I'm keep on
It is.
keeping on.
Yeah.
So, again, you don't know. You just don't know what your particular thing is, right? Maybe you're bulletproof, right? Until you eat.
Until you're not.
Yeah. Maybe a peanut is going to do you in. You don't know, right? Maybe you're allergic to a very rare, Japanese orchid, which you only come across once in life, and that's it. We don't know. Just living well, I think, Dave, is what we want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And as little stress, in my opinion,
Hmm.
as possible.
I'll go with that.
I mean, look at you. I mean, you've had a few ailments, but here you are.
Yeah.
A lesser person might have succumbed to just a mental strain. See, this is another thing. Just a mental strain of knowing something is wrong, or other vicissitudes that might befall you in the course of your life, right?
That's a great word. Yep.
I like it. But it is certainly.
What's Ferris Bueller's Friend?
Oh.
I know it too.
Sorry. Tip of my tongue.
How's that out of left field?
It's good. I like it. In fact, I just watched a show he's in called Succession.
Oh, okay.
Eldest child.
Yeah, right.
Alan
What-
Ruck is the actor's name, but he played his friend.
Anyone?
It'll come to. It'll come to.
Bueller.
I know. Fry. His last name is Fry,
Is
and
it?
his first name is. I can't think.
I
something.
forget. No,
His
that's
first,
right.
but his last name was Fry.
Right.
Fry. Fry.
Bueller. Okay. So he was miserable.
Cameron Fry.
Cameron. That's right, Cameron. So Cameron was miserable
Yes.
in, the character was miserable because he was always believing that he was sick. Sick of this, sick of that.
Yep.
Head cold, blah, blah, whatever it is, aches and pains. And it was debilitating for him. And it was, through that story, Ferris pulled him out and gave him a great day as a result. And it was a day that he would have missed if he hadn't have followed Ferris's instruction. Against his will, mind you. He still didn't do it willingly, right? I thought that was a great way of describing it. And if there's people, Mackie, that are the Ferris here, they in life they bounce around or flutter about like a butterfly, and nothing seems to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I know, right?
You go, what?
How?
What? And his sister got really upset.
Oh, wasn't she?
Oh, she was upset. But you're right.
Such a good movie.
But there are people like that in life.
Yeah.
Where you think, how? It's like, again, it's a TV show, Seinfeld. Kramer.
Mm-hmm.
He falls. He dates. He has sex without dating. He falls ass backwards into money. His whole life is a fantasy park.
That's right.
And fair enough.
So I think we all know characters like that, and that's why they're so fantastically written. It's because it's easy to write for those.
Yes.
And I have to say this one more time, and that is I have a friend who's unemployed, who is busy, and I go, come and meet me in town, like in the city, and I presume he has no money, And it's like, I'll buy the ticket for you. I'll just send you some cash so you can get on the train and come and have lunch with me. Oh, when? And it's like, oh, maybe, what about next Wednesday? That sounds, it's like enough time to book and plan. Yeah. And he goes, oh no, I've got something on that week. What do you have on that week? Oh, I've got an interview. I think it's on Friday, he said. Okay, well that's plenty of time. Just jump on the train. I'll have lunch with you. I'll pay. Have lunch with you. On Wednesday. Nah, we'll have to make it a different week. But you're not doing anything. There is nothing to do. You're unemployed. You don't do anything else. You're only sitting there watching the daytime TV. And that's all you're doing. Come on, I want to pull you. No, not unless I went to his house and physically, or had a team. You can hire teams of people to do it. Have a team to go and extract him from his house with balaclavas on, right? And deliver him to the office. That would be great. Do that. But that is a very strange place that people get into when the clock is no longer minutes. It's a week clock. The clock on the wall is measuring in weeks. I can't do anything because I'm busy this week. Oh, okay. Right. See, my day is busy this meeting, that busy writing, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I get to go home, right? That's it. And every day is kind of similar. But it doesn't seem as though they're in the same time plane as the rest of everybody. If you know someone like that, do put a comment in under the video if you're listening to this on YouTube, and like and share and subscribe, and that helps with the algorithm. This is the hard thing, Mickey. I don't want to fall into that. I don't want that to be my life. I don't want to see instead of the days going by, the weeks going by like that.
Yeah, I hear you. But in order not to do that, there's only one thing you can do. You have to meaningfully engage yourself in something, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's the way. I mean, honestly, that's the right answer.
Yeah. No, but look. You know what I think when you come to the end, it's never going to be all the things that you did wrong or failed at, right? It's just when you sit in your ass, you didn't do anything, when you didn't try, when you didn't make an effort, when you just let life wash over you. I watched my dad for years.
Yeah.
For years, sit in his chair, and I would ask him, "What are you watching?" He goes, "I don't know." TV's on, right? He's sitting there.
Yep.
And TV was really just washing over him in waves. That's what it felt like. It's just like when you're at the beach and you're sitting there in the surf, and the waves are just slapping at your feet, and they might get higher and lower, but they're just sort of washing over you. They don't care if you're there or not. They're just coming in and out, and you're there. Also, it doesn't really matter what happens. So you're just sitting there, and that's what it felt like. TV was just washing over him, like so much surf.
I've done that, Mickey. I've done that, Mickey, when I've been like so affected by the flu. You just lie in the lounge, and you just don't want to do anything. You can't do anything anyway. You're just one big bundle of not doing anything because you fever, and you're not hungry, and you're really not. Your brain's not really processing. And yes, done the same thing.
Yeah.
Done the same thing. Put it on TV and I'm just staring at it. That's it.
But this is the thing, though. You're sick. It's okay.
Yeah.
When you're sick, then that's what you do. But if you do this when you're not sick, right? That's a little sad, I think.
Yeah.
And I think you should really, I don't know, do something with your life. Do something with your life.
Anything but that. Yes.
Anything but that. I know that.
There's so many other things you can do. I know. I hear you.
And you can do good things
Mhm.
too. Or 4 people, 2 people. I mean, that's good. You know? But ultimately, though, you know, you have to be who you are. I think that's probably the most important thing, and people don't realize this. Be who you are, and a lot of people aren't who they are.
Mhm.
This mask they put on because everybody else is putting a mask, and the whole society we're living in is just a big mask of acceptability and expectations.
I went out
Before
for
you
dinner,
know,
Mackie. I went out for
Sorry?
dinner. I went out for dinner and took a photo of my meal, and I was by myself, but it didn't matter. And I thought, I hope I get a like on this because I don't know.
yeah, I existed. Look, here I had dinner. I exist.
Yeah, the
I am-
smile in the selfie wasn't really what was happening.
No, like I said, you know, it came up again. I went to a Chinese New Year's dinner the other day, and
Oh, happy Luna.
came up, and there was the question of the selfie stick came up because
Oh.
our arms were long enough. There are 2 things we know for certain about a person that has a selfie stick. 2 things for
Uh-huh.
certain. Right? 1, this person has no friends.
Hmm.
2, they have little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, short arms. That's
I can't push, jump, and fire at the same time.
hey. I'll use my nose. Those are the 2. I'm sorry. Those are the 2.
I got a third
things. Are you gone?
Yeah. When they try to show their friends all the video that they took of the entire holiday, they're not going to have any of those friends left.
There's that. How to get rid of people and not influence anyone. That's what.
I saw what you did there. That's good.
But no, look, that's the truth. It's unfortunate. I'm not a selfie stick proponent, as you can tell.
Have you ever had an invitation to go around to someone's house to see the slides at their holiday?
It wasn't an invitation; it was an ambush. So
Come round
No.
for dinner. We're going to have dinner. Yeah. And you get around there, and then there's a projector set up. Uh-oh. Is this an intervention?
No, that's me and my Speedos. Oh, good Lord. Kill me now. Just take me, Lord.
And you stare at the pile of slides they have, and there's more than one case of them. So, oh boy. That's it. And the narrative. The narrative.
Oh yeah. This is when we had the Mexican tacos. They were really good. and then I was sick for a day.
That's right. Here, this is the vendor we had the street food from, and this is the next pictures. This is the hospital room, hospital bed we were in for 3 weeks.
We later learned that he was arrested and sent to jail for 30 years for using industrial chemicals in his cooking. What?
That happened in Australia with there was a liquid that was left behind by the cleaner, apparently, and it was in the same spot with the same coloured container as the chef would use that had the real material in it. And it was a Chinese restaurant. I forget where it was. It's all done and dusted. It was years ago. But, yeah, extraordinary. People are going, this doesn't kind of taste right.
Yeah.
Oh, we got 1 minute left.
Oh, you're kidding. Well,
No.
let's take us to the end.
It's just the end. Yeah, well. So this has been the first hour of Dave and Mackie's Shiny Side Out. Coming up after the small break that's due any second, we'll be talking about the Cosrev mirror, and this is time travel and remote viewing part 2. So take the time to donate, and we'll see you on the other side of this short break. You're still with Dave and Mackie's Shiny Side Out.